The past few days I have been learning Unity to be able to make a game, and got different things here, folders for material. Everything gets a material and then the material is dragged and dropped onto objects that are in a scene. There's physics, there's prefab things that I've made and put in the scenes. These are the different scenes, or not necessarily a level, but they're different things you would see. I guess a scene is just one word for it. I don't know a better word for it. And then there's scripts. Scripts for the main menu, for the player life, movement. Sticky is a physics one. Waypoints for enemies to move. I'll hit play. And this is what it looks like. So I had to type different things so that it would highlight the word the cursor's over. It's the menu. Play, options, and quit. Quit will quit the game. Options takes you here. It's just a volume slider at the moment. Back, play the game. And WASD, or the arrow keys, will move the snowman. And it jumps. And if it touches one of these guys, then it dies. Just the bottom part of it, though. There are parent and children objects in this. You should be able to see it here. Here's the player. So there's the player is the player is that bottom sphere, and then there's a torso and a head and the arms. The camera follows the player, and then is grounded is an invisible object used to check the ground so that the snowman can jump. But the player here is called the parent because everything else is in a hierarchy underneath that. So these are all called child objects. So on death, the parent is disappearing, but the child objects are not. I don't know why that's happening yet, but so that's something. That's if I touch the sides of it. And if I jump and hit its head, it dies. Oh, I'm gonna have to change a waypoint. This is a moving platform. So I did the code for that as well. But that person is not staying on the platform. Oh, neither am I. And there, I died. And down at the bottom here, it says fall death in the bottom left corner. Fall death. So it tells me what happens. That's a debug log. I go over here, and it says enemy touch death. And that is in the script. So I'll stop this, go to the player life script, says what happens upon death. So right here, enemy touch death, or a fall death. So just a brief bit about this, just so that I have some record of what I have learned in the past few days. It's an if statement. So private, this is private void on collision. This private part means this is private, so it only applies to whatever this script is on, as opposed to something that can be public. And so then there's an if statement under here. So it's private, so only for this player. If it collides with a game object enemy body, then it dies. And there's a debug log that will say enemy touch death. And die is defined down here. Upon death, these things happen. It says the mesh renderer, that's what makes the enemy visible. That is false. So the enemy becomes, or sorry, the player becomes invisible. rigid body is for physics. And player movement, oh, that's player movement 2 is the name of a different script I have. That's for the player moving. And it says false because the player's movement stops. And reloads the level. After 2F that's 2 seconds. So count 1, 2, and then the player starts back at the beginning. Dead equals true. Debug log is dead. And then it reloads the level. The scene manager looks through the scenes and gets the active scene. Don't need to go through all of this, but yeah, there's the idea. Jump is defined. Enemy head, so that you can jump on an enemy head and it will get rid of the enemy instead of the player. So that's what I've been doing for the past few days.